A poor little 11-year-old girl is trying to learn how to make broccoli, searches up broccoli recipe, and it's like, weight loss broccoli recipe, and then some like half-naked lady on the thumbnail.
Or like half-naked dude being like,
here's how you make broccoli that makes you buff.
I eat broccoli every day, that's how I got these muscles.
Gordon Ramsay and like cutting the tomatoes. Like, you're not gonna make that salad. You know you're not gonna make that salad. You just like listening to him talk.
ASMR cooking shorts, and it's the most ridiculous. Just like slap, slap, slap of all the chicken, and I'm like, what am I watching?
Hear the sounds of mixing the raw chicken. It's just, That's the real problem with social media, is that they don't care about your goals and they don't know about your goals, and so whatever's being thrown in front of you is most likely not related to your goals. So then you just confuse yourself and you're running around in circles and you're filling your head with junk that doesn't relate to what you actually want to do, and you think it's harmless. No, it's not.
During the pandemic, we started getting into cooking. Maybe I don't know if this was before.
You started getting into
okay. Remember when we made those cupcakes by ripping up croissants and then adding like egg and stuff? I think that was during the pandemic, because I remember there's a picture of our dad with his afro holding our little sad cupcake creation.
Oh, I remember making the cupcakes.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
That we started experimenting, and I don't know why we got the idea of taking an already baked good in order to make a baked good, but yeah, that was. And then
we wanted to make a cupcake.
Yeah. And then I started getting into cooking before I started like making just like normal meals, because I just wanted to make the meals that we liked getting at restaurants at home. So I made like Panera bread soup, the cheese broccoli soup.
You made calzones.
Yeah.
I remember you would make pizza.
I made chicken nuggets for a while.
And then you'd make butter garlic chicken.
Oh yeah, that was my idea. And so we started watching that time. I think I was mostly watching like the Tasty channel, and the and just looking online for recipes and that sort of stuff. Yeah, but we also purchased the masterclass of Gordon Ramsay. I think we had a masterclass subscription for a bit, and that was we watched like Simone Biles and her gymnastics, and where she kept going, squeeze your bum.
By the way, I did not learn anything from that Simone Biles masterclass.
You were getting into gymnastics, and you had like a balance beam,
and she kept telling me to squeeze my bum while I tried to do like a back handspring or something, and it never worked. I fell many times.
That was the extent of her advice. It's just over and over again. Yeah, that's the secret to her success. But and so we were watching Gordon Ramsay, and I made a couple of his stuff. But it was not the best. Maybe I just screwed up or something.
Okay, here's the thing with like fancy cooks. They're like, it's like, I feel like a lot of the time they're making things that are hard to make. Yeah. And then they manage to make it tasty.
Yeah.
But that's not really what I'm looking for.
Well, I feel like a lot of it is like proving that you can like make something complicated and show your culinary talent. Whereas like you just want like a good meal, you know? And I don't need you to like try to turn like beef tongue into something yummy. I could just eat something that's like easier to make,
that's like not a beef tongue. And then and then also cooking shows are so annoying, because aren't they annoying?
Most of the cooking shows seems to just be about the whole like rushing in the timer and just be like, the timer, and then you don't even get to see anything that they're cooking or how they're cooking it. And
so you can think you're learning cooking, but it's mainly like a bunch of cooks using like super fancy cooking terminology and being like, it's not done yet. The pasta's too chewy.
And then they edit it to look like everybody's going down to the last second with everything. And then it's just like, 3, 2, 1.
This is the last leaf of cilantro. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, and I think, and it's funny when we were watching the Gordon Ramsay masterclass that he's just like constantly complimenting himself and just like,
what?
Just chop the carrot, lovely. Like constantly being like,
I don't remember the masterclass, but I did look at some of his videos on YouTube, and he'll be like, I don't know. The way he talks is very funny to me because he'll be like, the most important
Australian
thing
or something.
is to when making salad is fresh, good ingredients. Look at this tomato. This tomato is amazing.
Lovely, beautiful tomato.
Beautiful tomato. But I haven't really learned anything from it. Because like, I'll see
other than you gotta constantly sharpen your knife.
Yeah. What you want with cutting tomatoes is a really sharp knife. So we have a knife here, and let's sharpen it.
yeah. And
I think maybe this is just us picking on Gordon Ramsay. But
well, there's a lot of cooking stuff that we watch that was like mostly for entertainment, honestly.
Yeah.
But then I started getting into like, okay, I want to, cook more healthy meals, and that was just the part where it's like you get to the very worst, just like what is going on here in terms of some of the health influencers out there, where it's like, okay, a poor little 11-year-old girl is trying to learn how to make broccoli, searches up broccoli recipe, and it's like, weight loss broccoli recipe, and then some like half-naked lady on the thumbnail, and it's like,
or like half-naked dude being like,
or it's a half-naked
here's
dude.
how you make broccoli that makes you buff.
and
Buff broccoli.
buff broccoli.
I eat broccoli every day. That's how I got these muscles. And
Yeah,
it's like,
at least Gordon Ramsay doesn't do that.
yeah.
it's just like, look at these beautiful muscles.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that.
Lovely muscles.
At least he doesn't do that. He's just focused on making good food.
Yeah.
But these days, it's so hard to like you look up like healthy recipes, and it's really hard to find just like normal good food.
Yeah.
That isn't being advertised as like weight loss or protein.
So much of just trying to get like recipes and just food gets all tied into the health stuff, and then and
even when it's not tied in super much, I feel like one time I tried. This is still related to the health thing, but I tried making a cookie from Fit Foodie Fun Time or whatever the channel was called, and it looked really good, and the creator was obviously raving about it because that's what they do in all of these shorts. It's like, you will not believe how amazing this cookie is, and it's super easy.
This cookie has changed my life.
This cookie truly has changed my entire process of making food, and it's totally revolutionized food making. And they'll like say all these different adjectives. And then so I tried to make this cookie. And because it looked good. And it's literally just protein powder with like banana and egg or something. And it's a microwavable cookie. And I made this. I was so excited. I was so excited that moment I watched that video, I ran downstairs and I wanted to make that cookie. and I was so disappointed. Because when it came out, it was what you'd expect it to be, except that I didn't expect it because I was a naive little like 12-year-old trying to make a cookie. And it came out and it was literally sand. Like
I remember you telling me like, this tastes like sand. I'm like, then don't eat it, And
it was so sad for me, and that taught me a valuable lesson, which was not to trust like something just because it looks good, because I feel like so many creators,
you're incentivized to optimize for looking good, because obviously you're watching the video, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, you can't do anything.
And the majority of people aren't actually gonna make it. Like
that's true.
Like when
so much of like the recipe videos are entertainment. Most people are just watching it 'cause it's entertaining.
Like Gordon Ramsay and like cutting the tomatoes. Like, you're not gonna make that salad. You're not gonna make that salad. You just like listening to him talk. And like, the cooking shows, I haven't actually tried any of the recipes. We don't know if it's actually good. We don't know if the like judge is like exaggerating, like like they'll have these such exaggerated, like there's so much editing and like inauthentic stuff on the internet around food.
There's no accountability there, obviously, because you can't really, they just can judge however they like. That's why that's also something I didn't like about the cooking shows is like the judges can just come up with whatever they want and say whatever they want about it, and sometimes it'll be so inconsistent. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, and like, okay, and I went back to that short because I'm like, okay, someone's got to be commenting here saying that this sucks. And all of the most popular comments are just like, oh my gosh, I tried this, it's so amazing, it's so good, totally like a normal cookie you would get. And then and I'm like, what? And I'm scrolling through these comments. Either I just completely messed up that cookie,
right,
or it was 3 ingredients that you microwave. And like, okay, I still don't understand how that's possible if these people actually made that cookie. But passing over the cookie, it's just, there's so much that I'm like, it's just, these days I've been finding it hard because I'll want to make some recipes. I'll want to make some yummy recipes.
Yeah.
I'll go online to get inspiration, and then I'll leave feeling very annoyed and like, uninspired.
Yeah. Well, the kind of some solution is that I did find, like, when I was making a lot of Korean food for a while. I think it's called Maangchi. She's just a sweet little old Korean lady.
Maangchi is great.
And she's great because it's just like, she's just been cooking for a long time and really, like, just knows her stuff. And there's just a lot of stuff there that's not. But there's so much of just trying to keep up with the trends and post even if you don't have anything good.
Yeah.
And so much of the just, like, random commenting about the food that's just so like, oh my god, so yummy.
It's so fake.
Yeah,
like I try to watch like a what I make in a day or something, and literally the reaction that this person had to every single meal was always She literally did the exact same thing after every single bite.
Yeah.
And it's like, how does this thing have views? Yeah. Like, how do people stand watching this?
Right. There's some people, like, I think there's the pro home cooks guy, and he, like, obviously is really into food to a point where, like, I can't relate to that amount of being into food.
Yeah, especially pizza.
But I can see that's coming from a genuine place. Like, he loves what he's doing.
Yeah.
But then but then there's like a sort of just performative air to just being like, okay, get over yourself. It's just some broccoli. Rice with some broccoli,
like, Okay, how do some of these creators put out things like every day that they're claiming to be, it's impossible if they're claiming that every single recipe they're putting out every single day, like as shorts or something, are amazing recipes that they found so yummy.
Right.
Like it takes a while to perfect some of these recipes. Yeah. So it's like this isn't even possible, okay? Yeah. It's obvious that you're lying here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that there's also like, there's also just like, if you're just trying to make like basic good food, like I was trying to find inspiration from these YouTube videos, and honestly, when I got a lot more inspiration, it was when we went to China, and then our grandma was just cooking us just like really basic stuff. Like you just take spinach and you make it really good, because it's just a basic sort of thing. And I think it's really hard to, and I think that is kind of indicative of just with the whole like food creators online, this is kind of something where you can see the more broader problem with some of the influencer mindset and what kind of is going on, because you're trying to just make some food, and then you can see how these sorts of things are getting distorted because they're optimizing for views or optimizing for likes. And I see these like ASMR cooking shorts, and it's the most ridiculous, just like slap of all the chicken, and I'm like, what am I watching?
You hear the sounds of mixing the raw chicken. I'm like, I can't listen to these things anymore because there's so much. I can't watch these things anymore because there's so much just fakeness out there. That's like one of my favorite YouTubers started doing this. Like I used to like watching her videos. But now the new videos she's putting out is just like ASMR cooking. And it's like, yes, exactly. And it's so loud, I gotta mute the video in order for me to watch the thing. Yeah. And it's like, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. And it kind of just shows how much these things sort of devolve into more of the fakeness and devolve into more of just the flashiness. And that's kind of, it's really disappointing because it's like, you know, sometimes I'll be lacking motivation to cook and like I'm trying to look for certain things. And it's actually hard to just find something that's like not so much just about the whole flashiness, because I'll see something that's like, oh my God, this bean pasta is the best thing I've ever tasted in my whole life. And I'm just like, I sincerely doubt that. But then it looks good because they're optimizing it for it to look really, really good. And like every single one of these, like if you like blend spinach into some like pasta sauce or something, it's just like perfectly green. And mine just got little tiny spinach bits. It's like a little dotted spinach thing. I can't ever get it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how long they're blending it for. Maybe they're blending it for like 30 minutes so that they can like get the video.
So they can get perfectly creamy green sauce.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is going on? Because it is like a performative sort of thing, if that's kind of how you're approaching creation in that way. And it's just,
and not only performative, but also like advertising some really like not healthy things.
Yeah.
Like okay, so there's one side of it which is like the buff dude sort of like side of healthy food,
who obviously need to cook with their shirt off so that when
every
oil comes
video
up and burns them. It's like, this is not the best idea.
And I tried, there was this one short of this guy, and I couldn't, I was just looking for tasty food, okay? And this video of this guy, he wasn't shirtless, thank God, but he was making some chicken.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was like, I've been making this chicken for 10 years, it's amazing. And then he starts with cutting the fat off a chicken breast.
Yeah.
For anyone who knows anything about cooking, or at least, you know, something about chicken breast is like the hardest part to cook because it's really dry. It's not super fatty. It's not super juicy.
Yeah.
So why would you cut the fat off a chicken breast?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And I immediately clicked away from the video because he was literally, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the fat off the chicken breast here. We know we don't like fat over here. And I clicked away because I'm like, nope, not going to listen to this guy. He obviously, the way you make things tasty is by adding fat and salt. That's how you do it. And I'm not, and like there's so many videos out there that are going completely against this and just totally advertising like too good to be true recipes.
Right.
And for a while, like I have the sugar thing where I don't eat a lot of sugar. And I've got like 12 treats a year because there's so much sugar out there. And I really like fruit because I like sweet things.
And we like experimenting with how can we make fruit into something really yummy.
Yeah. And we've succeeded. But none of the ideas I've gotten from YouTube have ever worked. From these social media platforms have ever worked. Well, a lot of people
I found like a few things. I made you a healthy dessert cookbook recipe for Christmas one year because it's so hard, because they'll just be, just take this banana, put it in the microwave, it's the best banana split I've ever had.
It's okay, no, but you want it to be true, because like there are also a lot of people that are like, they're struggling with this stuff, it's a really hard topic, especially for females, I've noticed, and they're struggling with this. And then there's so much stuff out there just tailored to getting views from that crowd of people.
Yeah. And it was so hard because you try to just put in like healthy recipes, and then all this weight loss stuff comes up, all this different kinds of diets come up and all that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, because it was just me like as a 12-year-old trying to learn about these things. And then all of a sudden my brain's getting flooded with all this sort of stuff that I didn't want, I didn't care about. Yeah. But then even if you're just someone putting out the healthy recipes, but that's something that you're conscious about. It's like imbued in all the content. It's really hard to get away from it.
Yeah, like I was trying, like we recorded an old podcast, and for the podcast I tried to look up for examples of like this diet stuff,
right?
Because we were talking a little bit about that, and I was immediately, like, the moment I clicked on one of those things, my entire feed just got flooded with it.
Right.
And it was like, there was one diet that, like, literally the healthiest diet thing that popped up was this vegetable soup that didn't have any, it's water and some vegetables and salt and some beans. And there's this diet where you eat that for a week, nothing else but that. And that's just so like, ugh. Like, that was like the healthiest, most down to earth diet I saw. Right. Was this bean soup concoction that tastes so good. And then you got to eat that for a week and like nothing else.
Yeah, well, and it's also, I think that there's this conception, and it gets down to motivation, because it's so hard to motivate yourself to do the right things, which is why oftentimes a lot of what's promoted is doing these things for very bad reasons, which is like, oh, the only reason why you could possibly want to eat healthy is to be skinny.
Yeah.
And that's like pretty much seems to be the premise of most of these, like every single time you search up healthy recipe on YouTube, every single time it's like you're trying to
either you want to be skinny or you want to be buff.
Yeah, you just like you were just trying to find snack recipes.
I don't want to look like this, thank you.
Mr. Triangle.
Mr. Triangle.
Yeah, and then you're also trying to find snack recipes, and then it's just like the snacks I ate to lose 50 pounds. And I remember that was like a channel that you found, where you were watching it because you were just like, oh, I like some of the snacks on here, but it was like annoying
for
to
a
you,
while.
like,
I was like,
Liesl Jane.
Oh yay, Liesl Jane. And not to pick at Liesl Jane, like there are so many content creators out there that are just like, I lost 50 pounds, look at me, I'm so skinny, you want to look like me, so eat this cracker. And then and it was just like, it was just,
and there's also, it's okay to, there are genuinely people out there who want to lose weight, and that's not like, that's a bad thing. It's just that it's like there's no separation. It's like one and the same. Health is like losing weight, or health is like becoming a triangle dude, and it's like that's, and and I think that it's just kind of problematic because it shows the sort of incentives of the platforms, and it's something that, because we've been cooking for such a long time and we've been so familiar with kind of how we can try to navigate this, I feel like it's a really good kind of case study of how these social media platforms kind of just warps everything when you're just trying to, you're using the keywords to try to find the good wholesome stuff, right? And it's really, really hard to find.
And like, some of these people that are like, lose 50 pounds, eat this, like they're putting out decent stuff, and they're actually putting out recipes that are, this is really hard to find, but it's not like their recipes is awful. It's just, it's really hard to, like, I don't want to lose 50 pounds. Like, that would be half my weight at the moment. Like, I would be dead if I tried to lose 50 pounds. And because I'm a little 13-year-old, like, I'm not worried about that right now.
Right.
It's not what I'm focused on.
Popping up in my feed.
Yeah, I just want to, like, I'm just a ravenous teenager who wants to eat something right now, and I don't want to go have, like, my 4th ramen noodles of the day. That's my goal right now. And so like, this stuff isn't good. Like, for especially for like teenagers my age. Looking at that stuff, like, I never paid attention to it because I was always just like, you look ridiculous. Like, I don't want to look like this guy. Why would I be interested in that? Like, I never.
And it's so obvious too, because they're like, literally stick yourself in a bikini on a recipe video. Like, why is this relevant? That's the kind of thing that's just obviously, you know, there's something else going on here than just someone sharing their recipes.
Yeah.
And that's the real disappointing part, because we've been talking for a while about why these social media platforms can be so problematic. And for a lot of people, they can say, oh, it's just what's it really doing? You know, I'm just, you know, I'm looking at my friend's posts, or I'm just, you know, watching some funny cat videos or whatever. Yeah. And it's just that to see how much the incentives of these things warps what you're seeing, and warps the kind of way in which your brain is processing these things, because it is going in there, even though you're just looking at the recipe and you're ignoring the lose 50 pounds and, you know, then you'd be dead part, because you're just looking for recipes, and that's still influencing you. That's still, like, you know, influencing you somehow, right? And I think that's the part that's dangerous, because it's really hard to perceive.
It makes you more susceptible to those things, because it plants the seed. So like, even if the majority you're looking at is wholesome, still that little bit can plant a seed, you know. And it's not like, oh, you know, you see one lady in a bikini talking about how skinny she looks, and then you're gonna die. Like, that's not, but you know,
not the point.
But it's good to be aware of those things, and it's also, and to really have your guard up around those things. And that's something where a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Like, when I was looking at these things, I didn't have my guard up, and I got really lucky.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's a really touchy subject. For obvious reasons. But I don't know. I wanted to mention that because it's not like, it's not healthy. It's not good. And it's really annoying to me sometimes when I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm just trying to find like a smoothie recipe, and then I see a ton of things that are like, eat this smoothie and it's so amazing, even though it literally just has like oats and water.
Yeah.
And like, that's not true. And then I also see like, eat this smoothie and it'll make you look like this.
Yeah.
But that's not true.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to block all of those things out to just find a genuine smoothie.
Yeah.
And
are there any real smoothies out there?
Exactly.
Hello.
And I feel like it shouldn't be this hard to find a genuine smoothie.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to see all of these things in order to just make my breakfast.
And I think part of it is also kind of the disconnection of what really matters, because people will say like, oh, the newest research, because here's the thing that got really exhausting, is that they're constantly putting out like, the newest research says this and this and this and this and this, and then you're constantly like, oh, I should be doing this and this and this and this.
It's just like,
and then what you do is you forget yourself, and you forget how you feel, and you disconnect yourself from what really actually matters, which is like, hey, you know, just there's kind of like a common sense that gets lost while you get pulled in the current of all this stuff that you're supposed to pay attention to, which is the common sense is like, hey, just try to make some genuine basic meals. So maybe this thing has a 5% chance, will increase your rate of getting this by 5% or whatever. It's like, just try to eat like a normal person, with knowing that there's a lot of just like abnormal stuff being thrown at you, which includes like the food that you'll see at the grocery store, right? But there's kind of a, I feel like what it was is it was like not allowing me to just use my own common sense about these things.
Yeah.
Which is that, you know,
because there's so many people just trying to get attention, and the way you get attention is going out there and being like, you eat salt will kill you.
Yeah.
And then people are video. Like, take salt supplements, you're not getting enough salt.
And then you're just like, wow.
Yeah, what do I do?
What's going on?
You're eating bananas. Bananas are the devil. And it's and it's like, really?
It looks pretty
normal to me.
Yeah.
And then if you're being flooded with all these things, it's just gonna make you overthink it so much.
Yeah.
When really, it's just like, it's, I don't know, food is pretty simple.
Yeah.
I feel like food is pretty simple. Considering all of the things that are out there talking about it and making it seem so complicated.
Yeah, and it's also like the more simple you can approach it, the better. And that's why like the when I felt really inspired was like going to our grandparents' house, because they don't overcomplicate it. There's just
it's just the vegetables that they see at the grocery store they've been seeing their whole life, and they're not thinking too much about it, and then they know how to make it good, and then it's just there, and it's just like really simple, great, meals that you can just, that you don't have to think about so much, that's not so like overwhelming.
They also know where their food is coming from because, well, they know where their chicken is coming from because unlike us in America, they literally get the whole chicken.
Right.
Like it's got the head, it's got the feet.
Yeah,
I get freaked out whenever I see it.
Yeah, with their cute little grandma just with the giant butcher knife just chopping off the chicken.
Just chopping off the chicken.
And then we're just like
yeah. And they understand food, okay? They see the chicken and they're like, "Yep, I'm eating that. I know what I'm eating." They're growing their vegetables. Mm-hmm. They know where it comes from. Yeah. They take that, they make a soup and they're like, I understand this soup.
Yeah.
This doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of what I think is kind of relates to what we've been talking about the over sort of like focusing too much on the numbers and the measurements and all those sorts of things where it's like, we'll just like, oh yeah, it says like vitamin A, B, C, D, whatever, And it's like, okay, you can learn about these things and that's great, but at the same time, you kind of have to keep in mind what the actual goal is. And there's also like, we know somebody who's learning about like exercise science in college, and you have to like memorize all these muscles or whatever. It's like some random person came up with the name of these muscles, and so and when it comes to like all this sorts of like vitamins and stuff, it's something that you can educate yourself about, but it's also so easy to just get swept into the current of all the information being like put out there,
and the overall goal is just to feel good. It's just to live a decently long life and feel good while you live it. And and that's and I doubt that super obscure, weird, suspicious vitamin powder is really gonna help you that much. And also, like, if you pay $100 for it, of course you're gonna want to think that it really super helps you a bunch. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I feel like digging too deep and going down this rabbit hole too much is just gonna completely make you overthink this and do way more harm than good.
And I think that's the real danger, is overthinking, because then you just get disconnected from yourself. If you're thinking, oh, this is the authority figure, they're putting themselves in as an expert. I'm a nutritionist and I've got my doctorate in nutritionology.
I've got a PhD in vitamin A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3 something.
Yeah, and it's like, and then what you do is you forget to pay attention to what really matters, which is like also to like have meals together with other people and to enjoy and just to like live life to your fullest and
enjoy food.
And pay attention to like what actually helps you towards what are your broader goals here, right? Because what it does is it distracts from your understanding of what are my broader goals and of what do I want to do and what makes me really feel capable to do the things that I really want to do. And I think that's kind of that's the real problem with social media, is that they don't care about your goals and they don't know about your goals, and so whatever's being thrown in front of you is most likely not related to your goals. So then you just confuse yourself and you're running around in circles and you're filling your head with junk that doesn't relate to what you actually want to do, and you think it's harmless. No, it's not. It's filling your head and it's confusing you, in terms of like, why am I paying attention to this thing if it's not related to my goals? You're confusing yourself in terms of like, what is it that's my real priority?
And these companies are sinking so much money, so much energy, so much time in making these things as addictive as possible. And that's what you're exposing yourself to.
And that's what's just like addictive. That's the ASMR cooking videos are trying to make it most flashy.
ASMR. And it's like, is that really helpful?
And I think to just get down to the basics, like one of the cooking channels we like to watch was we know this little Korean grandma on our street, and we'd go over and she just loves watching these 2-hour Korean videos. It's this family in like the countryside Korea, and they're like
planting their own food, and then it's just like an hour of them cooking and then an hour of them eating. And that's something we watched, that especially after our house fire, because we were just there hanging out,
and it was grounding.
And it was really grounding, and we would watch like for 4 hours this Korean family
of just going,
and they eat like obscene amounts of food. I don't know how they all shove it in there, but they're just cooking, and it's just there, and it's so wholesome and natural, and then they're just there, and they're just eating, and they're just they'll just be like, oh, you want some of this, in Korean obviously, and then they'll just like feed it to each other, and it's just like,
and they don't like really talk to the camera in there. There's none of them going, do you want to lose 100 pounds in 2 hours? Well, this is how you do it. You buy this thing that costs $500, and then you become broke.
And then you've just lost $500. That's what you've accomplished. And it was just it's just kind of so down to earth, and it's so grounding, and I think it actually speaks to kind of what it is that we're looking for, that channel has so many views of people literally just watching 2 hours of this family like cooking food and then just eating it, and when they're eating it, it's literally uncut, like an hour of them uncut just eating it, and it's one camera angle, they're just eating, and it just kind of speaks to the basic sort of thing that we're looking for, which is to be in the moment, to just slow down, and to not, and that's like all the cooking shorts. And I would watch these cooking shorts because I was trying to get recipe ideas, and they're entertaining, but at the end of the day, it just kind of fills your head with a lot of stuff.
And what do you want to go back to? You want to go back to that Korean family eating a lot of food and cooking that food. And it's very grounding, it's very wholesome, and it's like the opposite of these.
And it kind of proved the point as to distracting from your goals. I would go into looking at like some just cooking shorts with the goal of, I want to get some recipe ideas. And then like 20 minutes later, I'm like, oh God, I don't have any recipe ideas. What have I been watching? Right? Because it doesn't serve your goals. They're not trying to serve your goals, right?
I go in there looking for lunch ideas. And then 2 hours later,
ASMR.
I'm watching an ASMR video of apple pie that's probably AI generated. And where it's just like, knife going through the crusty apple pie, and all of the little apples are perfectly situated inside the pie. You're like, whoa. And I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm never ever gonna make this. I've just been wasting my time, and I think that is the ultimate. Here's what we're losing out on: is we're losing out on all the things that we were looking for in the first place, and then we just get distracted, and then that convinces us that no, I haven't been wasting my time. Is because I'm learning about creatine supplements, and it's really important for my health. Creatine stuff, and it's like
whatever health means.
And it's just like, no, you were not going in there intentionally to go learn about creatine. That just popped up because someone's selling an ad or whatever, and that's how, and it just fills your head, and then it just distracts you from what matters. And I think that's part of why we definitely need to rethink how we're approaching these platforms. But that it kind of goes back to what we've been saying about what we kind of need to rethink broadly, which is that at the very least, you need to know what matters so that you can watch a video and be like, okay, that didn't actually matter. I was wasting my time. To at least have the awareness to do that. Otherwise, you can just get sucked in, and it's not good. And that's part of what mental health problems actually come from, is that you forget what matters. And that just, and that just really messes with your head. And so I think that's kind of what we can get back to, is just, what is it that the little Korean family just eating their food, and to do that with your own family, and to just get down to the basics, and to not have to overthink everything. It's not, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if it's not something that's clearly guided under the understanding of here's what it is that I'm really trying to do, that just means you're confused and overwhelmed, and that's not what you want.